For sure, man. I love the video that you made. Definitely fun, I think. Uh, that's too shaded. Hold on.
Because I really actually I don't promote a lot of other stuff. Like I recommend certain books and stuff, but I personally don't watch a lot of YouTube channels. I'm subscribed to maybe about, you know, I'm subscribed to maybe like 15 channels, but I only watch maybe like 3 or 4.
Yeah,
So when
that's how
there's
I am.
yeah, so it's less like yeah, I think I heard you after Rich Roll. Or yeah, because I think Rich posted on Instagram that he did an interview with you, and then I was
Yeah.
just kind of reading through the comments, and people were like, "Wow, this is like the best interview that I've like ever heard," and I was like, "Fuck, all right, like I might as well check it out." So I hadn't listened to one of his podcasts for a while, and so yeah, it was just it was totally awesome to hear you, and
Dude,
to listen to your thoughts. And
we're actually gonna. I ran into Rich yesterday, which is crazy.
I saw that on Instagram. Yeah,
Dude, I'm skateboarding in the early morning, like nobody out, literally no one out, skateboarding with my surfboard, flying down Venice Boulevard, like the strip, going to
yeah,
go surf, and I see this guy running towards me, and I'm like, "Is that fucking Rich?" And we like pass each other, and we're like, "What? This is crazy," because he lives pretty far. He doesn't even
yeah.
live out this way. Um, so it was really, really dope to run into him. Again, we're gonna do another podcast, actually.
Nice, nice. That's gonna be awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
One more.
I think it was just like the topics that you were talking about, and because I've just been kind of like going through a transition in my life where I'm like right now, I started a whole new channel. So I have like my main channel, and then I have a secondary channel that's called I Love Myself. So it's a
Ah,
365-day experiment of self-love. So every morning I do like a self-love practice, and then I
yes.
do like mental affirmations throughout the day. So I just repeat I love myself, and it's based around this book that's titled Love Yourself Like Your Life Depends on It. I don't know if
Yeah.
you've heard of that one.
I have not.
Um,
I'm going to check that out.
it's a really short book. It'll take you probably 30 to 40 minutes to read, but it's it's written by an entrepreneur in Silicon Valley. And
Uh-huh.
so he's not just like your typical kind of like, hippie guru type guy. He's like really kind of like pretty far away from that kind of stuff, but he was just
Yeah.
like at a point in his life where he's just like, I'm just going to do this experiment. And so then he wrote about it, and pretty amazing.
Dude, that's sick. All right, I'm going to have to check that out for sure.
Cool. So actually, I've already started recording, but
Oh, of course you have. I'm
of course
walking.
but then it doesn't seem so. It's like fabricated, right? It's just like whatever.
All
Um,
right, let's
in
roll.
in in your last video, in one of your last videos, something I wanted to ask you about is that you said that like every morning you go like bananas, and I'm guessing you have some type of like kind of like routine or some type of practice that you go through each and every
Yeah.
morning. Can you tell
Uh-huh.
me about that? Like I want to hear what you do.
You know what? It's a little tricky. My girlfriend, Alexi Panos, also does the same work. She has an awesome YouTube channel. And, when she's next to me sleeping, I can't be as vocal about it, but I do it in my head. So the first thing I do when I wake up is I just go crazy about all the things I'm thankful for about myself.
Yeah.
And I let the stream of consciousness flow. I just let whatever comes out just come out. And I'm like, my teeth, my family, my shoes, it's
Yeah.
just stupid stuff sometimes. And it's hilarious. But it's as we know, everything is vibrating. We're all just energy in a space, and what that does is it charges my vibratory cells. Like when you start out, and there's a lot of people who write about this. I have a buddy named Hal Elrod who wrote a book called Miracle Mornings. And
That's what I do every morning. I do a miracle morning.
oh yeah, this is
I
my.
got it from the book. Yeah,
I love him. Yeah,
yeah.
he texted me this morning, literally this morning.
That's
But
so crazy.
grab my phone. I'll show you guys just
Yeah.
how like awesome the universe is because it's just connecting all of us. Like Hal texted me
Hal
literally,
Elrod. That's
yeah, this
crazy.
morning. So he talks about winning the morning, and
Yep.
a lot of people have already understood that. Maybe they didn't have words to it, they didn't have a structure to it, but I also, for years have been doing this. And what I would do and still do is go through a stream of consciousness about all the things I'm grateful for, and then I immediately get up as soon as possible and start some type of routine where and it used to be I would write then read, then meditate. And now, because I'm always experimenting in my life, and now it's stream of consciousness about all the things I'm grateful for. Then I take a moment of silence, right? And just stop, just be still before, I grab my phone and do all the stuff we end up doing, checking emails and seeing what happened and all of that. And just be still and bring myself back to a knowingness that God is all there is, that love is all there is, and that everything else is extra, that it's all icing on the cake. It's not the cake. You know what I'm saying? And then I get up and I go read, or I go straight to the beach. Like when I ran into Rich yesterday, I did that and then got in my car immediately, grabbed my surfboard and took off and went straight to the ocean.
Yeah.
Because if you can get into nature, like seriously, this is to everybody listening to this. If you can get into nature every day, it will change your entire life. And that doesn't mean it has to be like super like, backpacking through, Colorado, something like that. But like just walk. Just get out into the air and like connect with what you are. That's a game changer.
Absolutely. So like who you are right now is totally different from, I guess, as you were growing up. So like maybe kind of explain a little bit about the transformation, because you haven't always been this loving, this positive. I think you talked about that you're when you're younger, you're very kind of like, I think you're filled with a lot of anger, and you just had like you had like a lot of energy, and maybe you're just directing it in a different way than you do right now.
Absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely. See, I'm of the school of thought that, we're all born perfect, whole, and complete. And then we get taught through the subconscious, through our mirror neurons. And I was reading about this yesterday. Deepak Chopra was talking about a study that was done at Harvard about how to change the set point in the brain. And they're talking about mirror neurons and how children, when they stop being breastfed, they start to, through mirror neurons, figure out how their mom and their dad or whoever's taking care of them eats their food. So they're like, wait a minute, I don't get to suck on this boob anymore? Huh. What do I do now? And they're watching, right? So what happens is we're picking up on that and making neural associations based on our environment. And, I fortunately was in a super loving, very, very beautiful environment as far as my mom and my dad went. Even though they divorced and, they fought every once in a while and all of that stuff. But like they were super loving. The environment outside of my house was a little different though. Okay. And that's where a lot of that stuff was formed. Here's Alexi. Come say hi.
Hey, Alexi.
Hi.
How's it going?
Oh. Yeah, guys, if you don't know who Alexi is, go to her YouTube channel. She's a rock star.
Absolutely, she is.
I learned everything I know from this guy.
See how
you learn from each other, right?
Yeah, it comes in and interrupts our, conversation.
I gotta get my laptop.
Yeah, I am.
She's got to go make YouTube videos.
Exactly.
Awesome.
Yeah, brother. So outside, was a little different for me growing up in LA because, like I explained in Rich's podcast, that everything that I saw that was beautiful, that was like a hero, like Superman, and this fake picture of Jesus and Santa Claus and all of the Christopher Columbus and all of the people who did these great things were these blue-eyed white men, and I didn't look like that, and everything that looked like me was violence. And if you notice, like even today in movies, whenever they want to portray a character as a bad guy, they put him in dark colors, or they use the dark person as the bad guy. And that plays in our subconscious. That plays in the part of our brain that's not even cognizing that we're being sold, we're being lied to. Right. And my 7-year-old, 8-year-old, 9-year-old, 10-year-old brain could not cognize that I wasn't actually a beast. So what I ended up doing with my friends was, we started this gang called NFCG, which was Notorious Fucking Criminal Gang. I still know how to throw it up. So wow. NFCG, right? And what we would do is we'd run around the neighborhood, we'd spray paint, we'd fight people, we'd steal from the liquor stores, and we'd do all this crazy stuff. And I was a super leader. That's the interesting thing, is I still had this energy. And this like little 10-year-old, 11-year-old kid with a lot of energy, a lot of passion, I just wasn't channeling it to serve myself and the planet. And, you know, for a long time I was upset. I was mad at the government. I was mad at all of these things outside of me that created this monster, this person who has done bad things and all of that stuff. And now I realize that nothing is outside of me. That I called all of that into my experience, all of it, so I could speak to people like you. So I could speak to people who also have been through stuff and explain in a way where they get that it's not theory for me. You know, like all of the stuff we talk about, this is not theory. This is practice. I actually do these things. I'm the living proof of it.
Right.
And I know that you don't necessarily have to have this crazy, you know, adventurous childhood or like crazy backstory to be going through some shit. Like everybody's going through something, you know?
Absolutely.
Like Derek, what are you going through right now? What are you working?
What am I working through? So I recently just went through a pretty bad breakup, I would say. So what I've noticed in my mind is that I constantly have arguments with my ex in my head over and over and over again, replaying things that have happened 5, 6, 7 months ago that just doesn't actually pertain to what's happening right now, obviously. And so right now it's like becoming aware of that and focusing, like understanding that that's happening and realizing that that's creating a lot of negative emotion in my body, a lot of anger, a lot of hurt, a lot of resentment. And then kind of like not pushing it aside, but accepting it and then just kind of bringing the love back in. So focusing on an affirmation or just focusing on just feeling good, right? Feeling good right now. So something else that I've just started doing recently is just saying thank you. So like I'll just say like thank you. And then I'll be like, thank you for my laptop. Thank you for these headphones, right? And just kind of like starting to focus on that as well. Something that Abraham Hicks always talks about is, she always says, if the condition were how you want it to be, how would you feel right now? Yes. So then I just think of those emotions in my mind. So like if I think to myself, if I love myself truly and deeply right now, how would I feel? I'd feel love. I'd feel compassion. I'd feel peace and joy and clarity. And so I kind of get going in this almost like rampage in my head of just feeling good. And then you just feel good. And you're just like, why was I just feeling like shit, right? So for me, that for me has been like probably the biggest thing that I've noticed so far is how wild the mind is. Like
for sure. You're hitting on something that I'm not sure if you understand is gigantic. Like I don't even know how you look like you're fucking 17, dude. But
I'm 28, but I'll take it.
Okay. Seriously, you like even that. Like you're super young and you have hit on something that people usually don't figure out in their lifetime. Like even in this lifetime. You know, like what you just explained is you become a witness to the mind. You know, you watch the thoughts come in and you don't call them yours, you witness them. This is some of the stuff we teach and I teach to my clients and, you know, this new program that we're going to be launching, the Bridge Method. This is a part of that, is showing people and giving people the tools to understand how to decipher between the wounded self and the higher self. Because there's a difference. You know, the higher version of you, the capital D, understands that you are perfect, whole, and complete, right? But the wounded D operates from ego mind. And that one wants to pay her back, wants to punish her for all the arguments and all of that stuff. And you have taken yourself out of the play and said, okay, who do I want to be right now? That's gigantic. Oh, I want to be the capital D. Like I'm calling in that Derek. So like, let's roll, you know? And then what would I need to move into to be my higher self? Oh, I need to move into thoughts that I'm grateful for. Cool, I'll do that. And all of a sudden, the mind, you see, here's one of the best keys. People identify themselves with their mind. So they'll say stuff like, well, that's just who I am. No, that's just who you've been based on all of the conditions that you were born into. Right. Who you are is an emanation of the Most High. Who you are is a divine snowflake that has never, ever, and will never be repeated. Like who you are, the essence of who you are is not these skin suits. And like once we can understand that, and stop identifying with the mind, because the mind is also picking up subconscious collective thoughts that are floating through the ethers, like all the shit that we hear, like, name some of the stuff that we hear all the time. Money is the root of all evil.
Yeah.
Like that stuff is floating through the collective consciousness. And if money is evil and you have money, that makes you evil. Therefore, you don't attract it, because money is listening. Money is innocent. Mm-hmm. It's like, cool, dude, what do you want me to do here? Like everything in our world, our physical world, starts in the invisible, and it starts with a thought. And what you're touching on is you're directing your thoughts. That's gigantic.
Yeah.
It's huge. So, like, hats off, congratulations, brother. That's like next level mastery right there.
Cool. It's like I've been into personal development since I was like 19 years old, and I've read, even at like 19 or 20, I was reading Think and Grow Rich, but I still never fully understood until probably, just more as of late. Like, it's taken a long time for me to actually grasp it, which has been really, really interesting, especially with the idea of repetition as well. Because I think something that is obviously really kind of portrayed throughout society is that we want immediate gratification and immediate results. And something that I've never learned how to do, and this comes from like years of like, I was able to do really well at school with very minimal amount of work, or I'd be able to do well at sports without actually having to like really practice and try. Yeah. So I've really kind of conditioned my mind, I have conditioned my mind in order to just seek out that immediate result. So I never really I was never really willing to kind of put the work in. And one thing that I've listened to Bob Proctor is that he talks about constant spaced repetition. So he's like, take one chapter from a book that you really, really like, read it every single day for 30 days.
Yes, I do that.
Yeah. And
I do that.
I read the same book every single morning right now.
Yep.
And I keep reading it over and over and over again, just because I'm constantly refreshing those thoughts in my mind, constantly pulling myself back to that, to that awareness of like, that I want to be focusing on these mental loops, that I want to be, just be more conscious of what's kind of going on in my life. So just by focusing on that every single morning, like doing the miracle morning. So like I read for 20 minutes. First thing I do is I read for 20 minutes. I do a 10-minute visualization, 7-minute meditation, 5-minute affirmations, looking into a mirror, and then 5 minutes of just journaling. Yeah. So that's what I do every morning right now. Yeah.
That's beautiful. The key also is knowing that there is no one size fits all. Like that works for you, but that may not work for one of your listeners, and they got to find what works for them. For me, I have so much energy that I need to be physical sooner rather than later in the mornings. And like there's many forms of meditation, and there's many forms of what it takes to and you touched on something, and I want to bring that back. Transformation is not a destination, it's a becoming. So yes, at 19 you were reading this, and we're always evolving. We're always, everybody's on a journey home to the self. We're all coming back to the self with a capital S, not the small one. And like, you're in that process, and your process is going to look different than mine. And the beauty and what I would offer as advice for anybody who's in this process is to know that it's yours, and like, there is instant gratification. It just doesn't look how we think it's supposed to look. Like the fact that you can even catch a thought, it's instant gratification. Like, you can be driving or be in a situation, and you'll go, oh, that person did that, which is a trigger for me. Oh, that's a trigger for me. The moment you realize that it's a trigger for you, it doesn't have you. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like somebody, I was explaining this to one of my clients the other day, because she was like, it can't be this simple. And I was like, it is. It was like, so, for me, certain things really piss me off.
Like what?
Like it just happened, actually. You guys will bust up. So I just pulled up to my house, and there's this white Mercedes in front, and it took 2 parking spots. And for me, that's like nails on the chalk. You inconsiderate bastard! You know, like for me, it's like, dude, are you serious? Like, there's other people in the world. How about us? You know? Mm-hmm. And what I do is I catch myself in that and realize that we're all mirroring. We're always mirroring back to each other. And like, what do I want to represent in that mirror? You know? Like, the reason why I would be triggered is because I have a story about inconsiderate people. But what if that story isn't correct? Mm-hmm. You know? That's the problem, is that we always believe our story. We always believe our story. My story is there's some doctor who pulled up because there's a hospital around the corner and was rushing, and he just pulled up and said, screw everybody else. But what if it's like a little Asian woman who was super nervous about parking and had to get in because one of her clients was, you know what I mean? Like, there's 40 billion other scenarios that could have been.
Right.
So, you know, getting a hold of what triggers you and recognizing it and then shifting it back to what's real is where the game is, you know?
Absolutely, yeah. Just being aware that it is just a story that you're creating in your head. And it's not... You can basically make the story as you want it. Like, you can do whatever you want. Mm-hmm. Or you don't even have to have a story. You can just accept it as it is. For
shiz.
So something that just kind of reminded me of is... So I've done a lot of traveling through Southeast Asia on my bike. And some people think that it's like... It would be very scary. And they'd just be very terrified of it. And they may create... Like, I was told a lot of things before I went by people who have never done it before.
Yep.
And they're constantly telling me, oh, you have to be worried about this, you have to be worried about that. And what I realized, I'm like, all the people in Southeast Asia, like, so I went through Vietnam, Cambodia, Thailand. Yeah. They're all really freaking nice people. Like, they're all really nice people. Like, wherever I went, they're really nice. And so my story of it's totally different. Like, I'd love to go back there. I love the interactions that I had, but someone may see something on the news or something about Vietnam or Cambodia or Thailand and be like, oh, like, those are... You know, maybe that's like 0.1% of the population might have done something bad, but the other 99.999% all really, really nice people.
For sure. That's the, you know what, it used to be a trigger for me. It's not so much anymore when people would say stuff like, oh, they talk about the ghetto. And I'd be like, explain to me what the ghetto is. And they'd be like, you know, where like people are like, you know, they're like, yo, B, and like, you know, there's like all that violence and like, and the reality is, even in gang neighborhoods, because I live in one right now, and it's the most quiet, peaceful, beautiful street. We have this gigantic house. Everybody's super loving. Everybody on the street has lived here for like 30 years. There's all these grandmothers. And what we do is we project, just because there's a couple dudes who are in a gang that live, you know, 7 blocks that way, we make the entire place this war zone that's crazy and everyone's dying every 14 seconds. Yep. When in reality, that's not happening. And especially, you know, like, as you guys saw, Alexi, you know, is mixed. She's Greek and German. And, you know, a lot of people, you know, when we're dealing in colors, like, oh, I'm white, you're black, and all that stuff, which I don't believe in, but, you know, for the sake of this conversation, when we're like, oh, you know, is it safe for me? Well, it's safer for a quote-unquote white person in the ghetto, in the hood, than it is for me. Absolutely. And that's the same thing across the board. Like, I just got back from Africa. Before that, it was in Mexico. And everybody's like, oh, be careful about Mexico. And I'm like, dude, Mexicans, the Mexican mafia and all that stuff that's happening, they don't have shit to do with me. Yeah. Why? There's a few reasons why they would never mess with me. One, I'm American. That passport would get them in trouble. If they killed me, they'd be in trouble. You know? If they killed her, you know, this quote-unquote white girl, oh, they'd really be in trouble. And the Mexican government and the Mexican mafia, they talk. And they say, okay, you can kill Mexicans, but don't kill Americans because you'll jack our tourism up. And that's how we make our money. So they do their drug rings, they do all of their stuff. White people can come in and out. They won't touch them. It's the same thing all over, but it's all the stories that we have about it, based on the couple statistics about, you know, some people dying, you know, like, yeah, people die all the time. More people die of stupid diseases like cancer from all the sugar and crazy shit that they eat than all of the stories we have about each other.
Oh, absolutely. That's It's something like, because I eat a plant-based diet as well, and so we always hear about how people are or like, you know, people tell, like, I ride my bike almost everywhere. People tell me how dangerous it is to ride my bike. I've ridden in some of the craziest places in the world. Like, have you ever been to Bangkok, Thailand?
Not yet, but I heard it's nuts as far as like
It's like 20 million people, and like it's the craziest place to ride your, like, the craziest and actually most fun place that I've ever ridden my bike.
yeah.
And even in places in Vietnam, like Ho Chi Minh City, it's nuts, right? And people are warning me about riding my bike down a street in like Canada here, and it's just like, it's really like, I mean, I could get hit by a car anywhere, right? So it doesn't really matter. It's not any more dangerous anywhere else that I've really kind of found personally.
For sure.
I do actually have some questions written down here. So for me, I'm gonna ask you is maybe more so for myself, but I think other people can gain value from them as well. So I kind of feel like I've either suppressed or numb emotions over my life. So it's like, as a guy, I'm just kind of like, I don't want to be feeling very high, and I obviously don't want to be feeling very low. So I kind of feel like I've just kind of like downplayed stuff. So I kind of feel just kind of more steady, I guess. What would your advice be to really kind of like ramp things up, like really kind of like really feel more excitement, more enthusiasm? Because I kind of feel like I'm very kind of like baseline in terms of my emotions.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a very common thing actually. And I just finished a talk about that. It's particularly for men, but it goes across the board. So there's half full, half empty, or you're just thankful that you have a damn cup, right?
Yeah.
And what happens is a lot of people are trying to avoid these two. But really, the beauty and how you ramp that up is understanding that the whole thing is one beautiful process. That, like, you know, when it's all said and done, I was reading Ram Dass's book, The Journey of Awakening, the other day, and there's a section in there from this woman named Liz from Kentucky who's 85 years old. And she says, if I had to do it over again, I would be sillier. I would make more mistakes. I would fall more. I would, you know, play more. And she's that thing. I truly believe, you'll look up 20, 30, 40, 50 years from now and be like, fuck, dude, I missed half my life trying to make sure it's always good because of this idea of good. But like, and I'm sure you can attest to this, and I'm sure everybody on the other side of this computer can attest to this, that some of the craziest, most challenging situations have produced some of the most beautiful experiences in our lives. You know, like the times where I thought I hit rock bottom and it was the worst was like where I got all this direction, where I got all of this beautiful insight and wisdom.
Yeah.
And like you're missing out on that by trying to stay in the pocket, you know? Like, why not? One of the things that really makes me smile and it trips me out because all of us do it is when we see, universally, when people see babies, we go apeshit. Like everybody's like, oh God, look how cute he is. Or like, you know, like there's something about a 2-year-old or a 3-year-old or a 5-year-old they're so unabashedly just experiencing everything.
Yeah.
And that is you. That is your mirror neurons going, holy crap, that used to be me. On the unconscious level, you're going, wow, that used to be me. And you're connecting to something that was such a beautiful thing. You know, the problem is we get trapped in the future or in the past. And, you know, I always remind my clients that your history does not determine your destiny. That you determine that moment to moment, you know?
Yeah.
Who just walked in the house?
My dad just took a step outside there.
Pops.
Pops.
So yeah, man, getting excited about the thing as opposed to one thing. Like it's all one life. Like it doesn't end. And for me, I know, this is my knowingness, and this is all opinion here. I know that no matter what road I take, I'm going to end up in the same place, which is forever. I'm an infinite being. So I could either, you know, come to the end of my life, which could be, you know, who knows? None of us know when that day is coming. But come to, let's say I'm 95, and I could get there and I could be like, well, I got about half a tank. Or I could get to the end and be like, dude, I'm on empty. Why? Because I jumped off of every cliff. I cried all my tears. I laughed all my laugh. I gave my heart, my soul. When I was mad, I was mad. When I was happy, I was happy. I felt I was here. Yeah. I am. You see what I'm saying? That's a complete different ball game than getting there safe. We know, watching the baby boomers, watching our parents, probably including your dad, that the shit that they were told doesn't work. It doesn't work. They worked their entire lives, 40, 30, 50 years worth of work to get to this pension, to get to this place where they had this little retirement nugget. And now they're all looking back, because some of my clients are that, you know, in that space, and they're all looking back and going, holy crap, I just wasted my life working at some, you know, bank when my dream was to play a Spanish guitar. You know, working at some corporation for someone else when my dream was to start an ice cream business. You know, but the only way to get to those things is to understand that no matter where you're going, it's going to be the same place. So you can either do it half-ass and get to the end and be like, damn, I didn't really live, you know? Or get to the end and be like, look, I went there. I went there in every way possible, you know?
Yeah, that's one thing that I definitely talk about quite a bit is like, you know, like what is it that you really want to do? Like focus on that and definitely go for that. Because like over like the last 4 years, so I've done all these bike tours and traveled all around, and it's been amazing. And it's like I can always kind of look back on that and be like, yeah, I fucking did that, right? Like I went there where, you know, people tell me, they're like for me now it seems like it's not a big deal, but I tell people about it and they're like, holy fuck, man, you did that?
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
like, yeah, but now it's like, okay, what's the next adventure? What's the next thing that I want?
Hold on, that's the key, dude. Understanding for everybody, and this is for everybody, and I know this is a fact. No matter where you get, let's just say it's to get into your room.
Yeah.
Once you get there, there's always a new mountaintop. So knowing that, that's freedom. No matter what you get, you say, I want to have $1 million and I want to create this thing. Okay, cool. Once you get the million and you create the thing, then what? You'll find a new one. So the thing doesn't matter as much as the journey to the thing.
Right.
You know?
You never arrive.
No.
Because you're always you're almost always arriving, right?
Yeah,
you're always getting there. Yeah.
Exactly. So like that's the key. Is like understanding that like you'll never be there, because there will keep changing. You'll be 75 years old. You'll have 10 grandkids, and your there will be to go to the Bahamas with your grandkids. You're there once you get to the Bahamas. You're there will be you know what, next year I think we should go. You know, like you'll make up something else. You know, but like what I have, my question for you is on those bike trips, and I have a feeling I know the answer, especially as far as Bangkok goes, because it's the same reason why I surf every day. So I surf every day because it's an immediate now moment. I don't have time to be thinking about anything else but the wave when I'm on that board. And I'm sure you don't have time to be thinking about your taxes when you're riding through Bangkok trying not to get hit by cars, right?
Right.
So my question to you, outside of extreme situations like that, and to all your listeners, is do you allow yourself to actually celebrate that? Do you allow yourself to really be there? Like, oh shit, I did this. I'm here right now. Fuck, this is awesome. Like, you know, do you let yourself have that?
I wouldn't say that I do. I wouldn't say that I have in the past. And I think that's been something that I need to kind of like be like, wow, it's like I'm actually really creating this. I am really doing this right now, and really celebrate that, because that's something that I kind of feel like I haven't done. I haven't got excited for like the small little victories, because it's like, okay, it's almost like now it's like, all right, like I got it. It's like whatever, but I don't even feel grateful for it almost in a way. And that's really kind of what I'm focusing on. Yeah.
Yep. I find also that in our society, especially now with these, you know, filtered Instagram lives that we have, these filtered Facebook lives that we have, that as a lot of people are missing the now. You know, they get there and they're at the Grand Canyon and they're like, fuck, let's take 30 pictures.
Yeah.
Like, okay, how about the Grand Canyon? Yes, take a couple pictures, but like after that, like be there.
Right.
You know, you get there, you're on the bike, you're in this place, and you're like, okay, wow, I did it. Now what's next? No, no, no. Before what's next, like, ah! You know, it's one of my dreams. I'm living it right now.
Right.
You know? Yeah, that would definitely.
That's a big thing. That's a big thing for sure, because that's even something that I talk about a lot, is like, because people are always looking for. So it's like, especially with girls, is like, say they feel like they have 10 pounds to lose, 20 pounds to lose, 30 pounds to lose. Mm-hmm. Maybe they've already lost 20 or 30 pounds. But right now, it's like they still feel shitty about themselves because
it's somewhere else.
It's always somewhere else.
Yeah.
And so that's where I believe it just ties into like self-love and just feeling grateful in the moment. It's just like just feeling good where you are right now.
Mm-hmm.
And then the path to where you want, just kind of like, you just kind of manifest that and allow it as you are feeling good in the moment. For
sure. That is the key, for sure. You know, I have and I'm going to do a talk in Australia in next month about this, about the 3 Gs. And those 3 Gs are the way that I am sitting in front of this, you know, computer right now, and why all of these beautiful things are unfolding in my life. Number 1 is gratitude. Like getting super grateful, like super uber grateful for what is. And like, for me, you know, it's understanding that we're all encased in these like energy suits. Mm-hmm. You know, you only attract who and what you are. You only attract who and what you are, and that's a moment to moment thing. That's not forever. That's not what you did 10 years ago. Right now, no matter if you've murdered someone or, you know, did some stupid thing, right now, if you can energetically get yourself into a space that is in alignment with your integrity, in alignment with your values, you can change your entire life in the now. And what happens is you stack those on top of each other, and that becomes the new normal. That becomes your operating system. Mm-hmm. That becomes the place where you just speak from. You're like, whoa, I'm here. Huh, I'm here. I'm here. Ah, I'm here again. You know, like now, from love. You keep stacking those things up, and it becomes the place you operate from. And then the second G is giving. Giving it away. One of the things, and you know, my YouTube is on its way to doing some beautiful things, you know? Yeah. But whatever it is, I'm here to give my gift away. You know, there's a lot of other stuff that I do, but like even before that, and if you guys go back to my old videos, I had stupid titles, I had no tags in the videos, I had no annotations, like it's just, I was literally just giving it away. And that was my gift to the world. Not everybody has the same gift. They don't, actually. So it's a matter of finding what your gift is, what you can give. Sometimes it's a compliment. Sometimes it's, you know what, my dad works really hard, and all those leaves in the backyard, like, you know, he's stressing himself out about it. Before he even gets home, I'm going to go rake those leaves for him. You know, like it could be the smallest thing. But when you give it away, it always comes back. It's like a boomerang. You throw the boomerang out, but instead of the same boomerang coming back, it comes back from a whole different angle. And that's what I've experienced in my lifetime, is like my giving in this area created something back there where somebody was speaking for me without me knowing. I just got, and I'm working through a book deal with Simon & Schuster, right? One of the biggest publishers. Yeah. Thank you. One of the biggest publishers in the land. And you know how that happened? Everybody's like, how did it happen? Giving my gift away. That's how it happened. Somebody put an email into this big agent's inbox saying, there's this kid you got to know about, because he's out there doing beautiful work, and he's doing it from an authentic place. I had no clue this was happening. I'm just giving my gift away over here. Mm-hmm. Then I get an email from that agent and the guy saying, hey, you know, she does this thing, and she's also with Simon & Schuster. She'd love to talk to you. And it's like, whoa, that's going to happen all over your life. The moment you come into service and start giving the gift away, it's going to come back to you tenfold. And not because you're trying to do it. If you're trying to do it, it won't happen. If you're being calculated, like, okay, I'm going to get 5 cents today. And tomorrow I'll get 10 cents from there. No, it's got to be genuine giving, right? And then the third G is personal growth. And that's the thing that both of us are very much committed to, you know, is committed to growth, committed to being the best version of ourselves. And I speak about this sometimes, you know, sometimes when you put that out there to the universe, because thoughts are creative. What we think about creates at one level. What we think about and talk about creates at another level. What we think about, talk about, and then put action behind, it's like the explosion of manifestation, right? And what happens is some people say, I want to be the best version of myself. I'm calling in the best version of myself. And what happens is the universe goes, oh, really? Okay, I got you. So here's this, bang, 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 right? And it's all this stuff where you're like, wait, and what you realize later on, like for instance, when you meet your wife, when you meet your 1 or your 2 or your 3, you're going to go, holy crap, I get why that didn't work out. Because the universe was working in my favor. I said I wanted to be the best version of myself. I wanted to attract people from that space. And as I started stepping into that, the universe took everything away that didn't represent that, including my ex-girlfriend. And my ego mind wanted to hold on to it because we've been arguing and da-da-da-da-da. But my higher self, the capital D, was like, oh, I get it. She doesn't serve the mission we're on. Yeah. You see what I'm saying? Yeah. So like, when you meet your girl...
Which I already have.
Exactly. Dope. But you get what I'm saying?
Yeah, totally.
3 Gs. Totally. Commit to personal growth. Give it away and stay in gratitude, and your life will be changed forever.
Awesome. I think that's a really good place to end this. And thank you so much, Preston, for taking the time to chat with us. And what's your YouTube? So you can just search for Preston Smiles on YouTube and then PrestonSmiles.com. Any final messages?
Love will find a way. Everything else will find an excuse.
Perfect.
Hashtag Love's Voice. You type in hashtag Love's Voice on Instagram, on Twitter, on Facebook. Follow me on any of those things, particularly Instagram and YouTube. I make videos every day on Instagram, on YouTube once a week. Yeah, if you dig the stuff, please hit subscribe and share. Derek, thank you. Awesome. Like a huge thank you for the work you're doing, for the work you're being, because it's one thing to do stuff. You know, we can all put, you know, the information is there for everybody. Yeah. It's a whole different ballgame to embody it. And it's one of the reasons why I responded to your email. It's one of the reasons why we're connected right now, is because energetically I can feel where you are. Awesome. And that's a beautiful thing. I get a bunch of messages like this, and I do not respond to all of them. So, like, awesome. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
You're doing a beautiful job, brother.
Awesome. Thanks, Preston. All right. Peace.